Back then, Greek was a dominant language because of when Alexander the Great had conquered the Persian Empire, which is prophesied, by the way, in Daniel chapter 8. You see, in Daniel chapter 8, it talks about this animal. It talks about a flying unicorn goat. Talk about unicorns in the Bible, right? Anyway, it says that this goat is the kingdom of Greece, and it says that the horn between its eyes is the first king, which means that the horn there is Alexander the Great. Now, it also talks about this sheep with two horns. The smaller horn is Media, and the larger horn is Persia, because the Persians were larger than the Medes. That kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Anyway, it says that this flying unicorn goat attacks this sheep and defeats it. But it says that that horn was broken off and 4 other horns grew up in its place. This is symbolic. When Alexander died, he was replaced by his 4 generals. Those 4 generals took over the empire. The Greek Empire was divided up into 4 sections, and each one of those 4 generals took over one of those 4 sections.
Alexander left no plans for his succession, and his generals soon began fighting among themselves to carve out their own empires. In the Wars of the Successors, Alexander's widow Roxana and his young son were murdered. His own gold sarcophagus, en route to Macedonia for burial, was hijacked and ended up in Alexandria in Egypt. Today, its location remains one of the world's great unsolved mysteries.
Within hours, we were fighting like jackals for his corpse. Wars of the world had begun. 40 years off and on they endured. Cassander in Greece, Craterus and Antigonus in Western Asia, Seleucus and Perdiccas in the East, myself in Egypt, until we divided his empire in 4 parts.
Just a half year later, Alexander also fell ill during the preparations for a new campaign to Arabia. Some say there was poison involved, but he probably had malaria as well. The emperor was closer to death than life. The court worried about the future of the empire. Roxana was pregnant with his son, but Alexander didn't name a successor.
Alexander, who is supposed to rule your empire? The most powerful one of you.
Alexander the Great died on June 10th, 323 BC. In Greece, a bitter fight about his succession started. The empire he founded broke apart within just a few decades. But he spread Greek culture over 3 continents all the way to India. And he was the first European world ruler in history. He was buried in Alexandria, in the city that carried his name. The exact location fell into oblivion. He formed the image of Alexander the heroic conqueror. But the honorary title, the Great, was given to him only by the Romans.